Welcome everyone. I hope you had yourself a pretty good weekend, or also good evening if it is the evening out there for you people in Asia and other places like that throughout the world. Today we have some pretty exciting news that has dropped over the last few days, and also some fresh content that, or sorry, some fresh news that has dropped like even within the last few hours. Let's start off here with some confirmations on the new R6 Mark III that have dropped. And I have a comparison of the specs here. Oh, if this MacBook will pull this up here. So for this R6 Mark III that's dropping, these are some of the differences that you can expect with this new model. For the R6 Mark III, expect a 30 approximate megapixel sensor using the dual Digic X processor, and then this adds a little more resolution to the camera for stills, especially. Video is not really that important. For the R6 Mark II, it had a 12 frames per second mechanical and 40 frames per second electronic shutter. And this Mark III is expected to match or exceed that with better subject tracking and expanded recognition categories. So they're adding more into the AI autofocus sort of intelligence features, which is expected. Most new cameras have some sort of AI intelligence system currently that is on the market. So the R6 Mark II had 6K oversampled for uncropped 4K up to 60 frames per second, full HD up to 180. This is going to be adding in 6K RAW up to 60 frames per second and 4K up to 120, and support for Canon Log 2 and Canon Log 3. So this is going to be a really advanced video shooter camera, so I think a lot of people will be pretty happy with that in that regard. And it also adds raw workflows to the camera, which will be really nice to have. So I'm not sure, there hasn't really been any update onto what sort of image stabilization boosts this will receive, but it will likely be similar or potentially a little bit better. So going into their screen, they have a new revised tilt and flip design with the EVF resolution not being specified yet. The R6 Mark II used dual UHS 2 SD card slots, and the R6 Mark II uses CF Express and UHS 2 SD card slots. And I love my CF Express cards. However, the price is really quite high. Although for Sony shooters, there's actually been a bit of a drop for Sony shooters in price with a newer brand for their CF Express A. There's a new company, I believe from Korea, that's making cards that are quite heavily discounted. So look into that if you're a Sony shooter, because they're releasing some cards that are at a better price and also faster speeds. Okay, on to the next thing here that we have. Faster write speeds for raw video and high burst to be expected. ISO and low light. There's no range confirmed yet. The R6 Mark II, however, had ISO between 100 to 102 thousand, native expandable to 50 to 204,000 ISO. So this is going to be a more professional camera, high resolution, expanded subject tracking, 6K RAW, and 4K 120. So should be a pretty great camera in that sense. Now, there's also been some specs released as well for the R7 Mark II, and these are rumors of this new camera, and we're expecting for this APS-C camera between 33 to 40 megapixels for this camera with a faster readout and reduced rolling shutter. And they're going to use the Digic X and Digic accelerator for faster processing and enhanced autofocus. Stabilization, it looks like it's going to be getting a little bit of a boost up to approximately 8.5 stops of IBIS. Now the EVF should have around 2.36 like the previous, with IAF tracking similar to the R5 Mark II. Shutter burst speed, the R7 had 15 fps mechanical shutter speeds with up to 30 electronic. The R7 Mark II has electronic shutter only, so there's no mechanical shutter on this R7 Mark II. And let me just explain some of the issues that one may have when buying a camera with no mechanical shutter. If you're wanting to shoot, say, flash work, you're only going to be able to have a shutter speed at max of 60 fps, so it could really be detriment to people that are wanting to shoot flash photography. For real estate work, I would never recommend a camera that has no mechanical shutter. So it's something to really look into and see whether or not a camera like this would be beneficial for you if you need that mechanical shutter. So look into that. It's good to be aware of these things before making a purchase. On to the next part here. So these are some pretty nice specs coming up here. So the R7 had 4K up to 60, and then that had some modes oversampled from 7K, full HD up to 120. The R7 Mark II, however, has 4K up to 120, 10-bit with Canon Log 3, and rumored support potentially up to 6K, 120p, or 8K 60p, which is huge, plus in-camera upscaling. That could be a good one. I don't discredit this camera because it's APS-C. Most of Hollywood film is shot on Super 35, so you don't need full frame for everything, but this looks like a really great camera. And apparently it will have a larger body with the R5 Mark II ergonomics, maybe just using the same body of that camera with an improved grip, AF joystick. R7 Mark II uses dual CF Express Type B and a UHS 2 SD card. And possibly it has active cooling in it as well, with those specs that they had mentioned, and using the larger body, it only makes sense. Otherwise, it would just have crazy overheating and you'd have to use a fan like I'm using right now. If you haven't watched my Ulanzi CU01 Fan review that I just posted the other day, I'm using it right now. Can you hear it? Probably not. Hopefully not. And I just have it on the low setting now. Video doesn't have any views, please watch it. Appreciate it if you would. Okay, on to the next bit of news here. So this is the image that has been leaked. It's not certain. It just could be an AI image, to be honest. But it looks like a potential prototype as to what we could expect with this camera. And it looks like there's a dual lens system, if that were the case. And I think that really is what the Pocket needs, having something that, having like a multiple lens system, like one potentially being telephoto, it would bring it to that next level. Another thing that I'm sure a lot of people are looking for is potentially like a 6K open gate would be nice as well for video creators. I mean, that's the hype spec that everyone wants these days. So if it could shoot 6K open gate, I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate that. And yeah, so I don't know. What do you think? Is this an AI image or what? Or they're saying this could potentially just be the depth sensor. Interesting. So it looks like it may not even have a telephoto zoom lens. So this is all just speculation. Not sure exactly. Yeah, see, this looks like an AI image, guys. But this camera is coming out really soon. So don't think that we're not going to be seeing a new Pocket within the next year, I would say. Their release schedule, let's just see. So this is the Pocket 3 came out October 25th, 2023. So 2 years later would be this October. Let's check out the second. That one came out. Okay, so there was a 3-year difference between these two. So we could be looking at another 3-year difference in time. So potentially next year, or if they want to release it this year. I mean, they're selling out constantly of this camera. Like they have no issues selling this camera. The 3 currently, I think it's probably one of the most sold cameras in the world currently. So does it make sense that they'll release a new one right now? That's probably unlikely. So I think I would wait another year for this camera. Let's just check out the first one. Why not? Let's just see. What was the first one's release date? So that one had a 2-year gap. But I think the difference between the 2 and the 3 was pretty substantial compared to the 1 and the 2. So, all right, that's open to interpretation. What do you guys think? Will we see one this year or will it be next year? All right, well, Viltrox finally joined the L mount. They had released, oh, look at that pulsing. Oh my God, I'm using the Viltrox. Oh, stop that, stop that, stop that, stop that. I'm using the Viltrox speed booster. So I'm currently using my Canon 16 to 35 f4 lens on this, and it claims that it's shooting it at 2.8 right now. Hopefully this looks good. I think that looks a lot better than my other autofocus Fuji lens that I've been using. I've just been using their kit lens because I don't really have any Fuji glass. I'm not really a fan of their lenses, honestly. Oh, I'm not really a fan of this either, though. Sorry if that's quite unsightly. Oh, stop it. Yeah, I've been using this 15 to 45 just for this studio work, but I don't know. Not really a fan. I think this Canon one's much nicer if it actually locks focus, which seems like it's doing okay despite the bad reviews for this. Let me know if you want to see a review for this speed booster. There hasn't been that many reviews posted recently, and Viltrox is actually releasing firmware updates for their speed boosters despite people online saying that there's no available firmware. So something worth looking into. Let's go into now Viltrox as they join the L mount alliance. What are some of the other options that are currently available? So they have Leica, of course, Sigma, Panasonic, Samyang, and Blackmagic Design that are currently making. Sorry, I missed DJI as well. So yeah, it's pretty big news. that they're joining the L-mount alliance because, yeah, it was pretty limited. I owned an L-mount camera. I had the S9 for a little bit, but ended up returning it. I had the Panasonic S1 for close to a year, I want to say, and I just found that there wasn't really that many options compared to what I have now with this Fuji X-M5 that's recording me right now, my Nikon. I mean, there's just so many lenses you can use with that, with their E-mount adapters. Anyways, well, should be interesting to see. Going on to Viltrox once more, I feel like they're putting out a new lens almost every single week. They're really trying to dethrone Sigma, I think, right now. This lens, this 56 1.2 Pro, promises gorgeous bokeh for under $600. Now, this is approximately 85 millimeters in a full frame terms. It's available for the X mount, and they have an equivalent for Fujifilm that's a 56 1.2 RWR, which is available for $1,099 US. So it's a pretty big price cut, like almost half the price. There is also a Siru Sniper 56 millimeter 1.2 for only $279. That's also available for EX and Z mount. These are some These are some images now of this lens here. What do you think of that? It has a nice aperture dial on it. Features 13 elements arranged across 8 groups, including a trio of high refractive index elements, one extra low dispersion piece of glass, and a single large spherical lens. Has 11 bladed diagram, providing bokeh without onion rings. What's going on with this? Oh, okay, let's just check out some. Apparently this also has dust and drip resistance. I don't know what is going on with this. I cannot use my mouse for whatever reason right now. That's lovely. Okay, let's just look this up then. 56 1.2 Pro Viltrox. Let's just check out their website. Do they not have it on their website yet? Okay, here we go. Make your subject pop. This pricing here is in Canadian dollars. That's why the price is not $580. Full metal body design. What does this weigh? I wonder. It's full metal. Their Pro glass is really sharp. So this is a 570 gram lens. Goes up to f/16. Ultra high resolution. This is their top of the line model with this one. So it has a click switch on and off, which I do love when a lens has that. If you don't know what that is, when you're changing the aperture, it can go from either clicked or declicked by changing the setting. I can show you, for example, one I have here. So this lens here, the Viltrox 12 5.6, I'm changing the aperture dial on it now. No sound by flipping this over. Also changing the aperture dial, and it clicks after I rotate this. This lens is amazing. Oh, it's so nice. So hard to resell it though. I just don't find enough practical use for this 15 5.6 lens to keep it, but no one wants to buy it on the secondhand market. Have you ever tried to sell Viltrox on the secondhand market? It's, I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, why does no one want Viltrox secondhand? Let me know in the comments. Why is this? It's a shame. Makes me not want to buy Viltrox lenses even more. Or sorry, makes me not want to buy them anymore despite them actually being my favorite to use. So this has a 0.5 millimeter minimum focus distance. Yeah, they claim that it is quite weather resistant. Now, if you're going to use any sort of adapter, that will probably change, but looks like they have a really nice O-ring on it, which is important for people wanting a pro lens. Let's just look at a quick comparison here in Casey from Camera Conspiracy's video here, comparing a similar focal length going between the Canon R5ii using the EF 85 1.2 to this Viltrox 85 1.2. Well, let's just make sure that it's in as high of image quality as we possibly can have it. Oh wait, sorry. Sometimes I forget to switch over. There we go. At least I didn't let that one go on for too long. It looks honestly pretty comparable. Obviously there's a little bit more separation on the Canons shooting with full frame. Not the best comparison, but still appreciate it. How is the autofocus? That's one thing that definitely curious about, because Viltrox for a while didn't necessarily have the best autofocus, but it's staying locked on. The Canon lens is also quite old. I think it lost him right here, but it is on a Fuji. It is on a Fuji after all, as I say this recording on a Fuji. Looks pretty good. Let's just see what other videos we can pull up on that. I want to find someone that will have potentially some pretty good image samples, real world results. Looks like it has pretty good color reproduction on it. I still want to try other Viltrox lenses because I've only tried their 28mm 3.5 on my Nikon, and I thought the autofocus was actually decent for what it was, but the flares, they killed it for me. They really killed it for me. I wasn't able to like just shoot anywhere in the sun without having flares just completely take over my image. And like they weren't really that aesthetic either. But I want to try one of their pro ones. Might have to try it as like an Amazon purchase or something, because I don't know if I'll end up wanting to keep one of these. It seems like the autofocus is pretty good on this. Somewhat smooth too. I mean, this image right here, it looks like there is some okay separation on it. The blur looks nice and smooth. I don't see, yeah, I mean, the edges are maybe not the best actually at 1.2. Could be a little smoother, honestly. This is an example of that minimum focus. And this is Andre Dima. Check his channel out for the actual video. There's the flare here. Looks like it performs a lot better than the other Viltrox 28mm, but there's obviously a pretty big loss in contrast, but it's not that bad. There's some purple flare too. I mean, 1.2, I'm not necessarily in love with the edges of the bokeh, but for the subject that's in focus, I think it looks pretty nice. I don't know if I would want to shoot this at 1.2, honestly. You see now right there, that looks pretty nice. And I want some, see now, like f2, it looks like it really starts to shine here, where there's no, it's just, where like the bokeh outline is just has like a weird shape to it. See now, look at this example right here. This looks really nice. He didn't say what aperture this was shot at, but I would imagine maybe like an f4 or something. So it looks like it does come with a lens hood too, which I would hope, considering it is a pro lens, but you never know these days. All in all, looks like a solid addition. Looks like Edinburgh, honestly. Well, that is all for that one. There was a potential release of what looks like to be a rumored dual screen patent for the Nikon, where there's like a dual sort of screen system here. Not sure how true this release is, but if that were to happen, this is kind of the how it would be laid out. You'd have the controls at the bottom with a potential live feed at the top, and maybe that would just have you rely on doing your controls mostly on the screen. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that. I do like the tactile feel of most cameras. I mean, that's what you buy a camera for, right? I think cameras like Fuji's are really well known for that. My Nikon Z6III does a pretty good job just with its overall layout. But yeah, let me know. What do you think about this panel? Would this be a good addition? Could you make do with a lot of controls being on a below screen, or are you not interested in that at all? Anyways, that is all. Closing this video out. I hope you found this video of value. Stay tuned for more content in the next little bit here. I've been busy recently. I have a video coming out of the Nikon 24 to 120 somewhat soon here. I'm trying to get this video as soon as possible, but I've been doing some traveling, which has just been building up and adding on to the content that I already have. I have some content in Tofino, British Columbia. I have some content up in Whistler, and then it looks like we're gonna have some content as well included in that video where I go to, you'll find out in a very short bit, okay? I look forward to presenting that to you all. And I also have a video where I'm going to be detailing a classic Canon lens, the 50mm FD 1.4 SSC. So stay tuned as well for that. Like and subscribe, and please follow me over to my main channel videos. Watch that. If you need a new fan, check out my most recent video. This Ulanzi fan is pretty great. Never got a single overheating warning this entire stream, which has been awesome. And let me know if you could hear it in the audio at all. I hope not. I hope not. It's just that level 1 shouldn't be much of a concern. Anyways, thank you. If you stayed till the end, thank you. You are awesome. Have yourself a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.